What is up everyone, Bigjuicyhog here, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to talk about something that may seem a little bit odd for someone who posts a lot of WoW economy and gold making videos. Beware of guides on the internet with gold per hour amounts. As a disclaimer, I do post these kinds of videos from time to time, but I always say the same thing. Your gold per hour will vary based on your server. That is the truth of all gold making. Every server is different, and not everything works on every server. Gold per hour also doesn't take into account the amount of time you spend posting and then reposting said materials depending on the farm. The second part that everyone needs to be aware of is that the gold per hour in many of these videos is incredibly inflated because of one big fact. Sales rate is not factored in. Sure, there are certain markets where you can be absolutely sure that you will sell everything within a day or two. Things like gathering materials for current expansions will likely go quickly, but everything else can be a big question mark. For example, you may farm up a pile of savage leather and it sells within the day. Sweet! Then you farm some more, and it has to get reposted several times for a week before it sells. Transmog is the same thing. The price that it supposedly sells for may be high, but you have to find someone willing to pay that much gold, or it's literally just a posting fee over and over. You can post transmog pieces for months and months before they sell. How much gold in reposting fees did you pay? Is it more or less than you sold the piece for? Is it worth farming transmog pieces? Sure, if you want to, but anyone who includes something like transmog pieces into their gold per hour to get more clicks on a video is being a little bit disingenuous. Another very real risk for aspiring gold makers are shuffles that don't include the word vendor in it. Vendor shuffles are for sure gold. You know how much you paid for materials and you end up vendoring the item afterwards, which nets you X amount of gold. It's really simple and straightforward. It's not always the most productive use of time, but you know what you're getting 100% of the time. What about other shuffles? Once again, they're a little bit of a crapshoot. Sure, on paper, turning herbs into pigments or inks may net you a nice profit, but in reality, you're going to end up reposting those items forever as most of the people invested in that market will just mill the items themselves. Then you have to worry about the value of those items degrading, which may make it so that you lose money over time. Same thing goes for turning ore into bars or gems. Yes, it may look like you'll make a lot of profit, but you also have to think about the time investment you're making to sell those items and the competition you'll be facing. Yet another thing to be aware of is that a lot of these guides are geared towards one or two groups of people farming in concert. Yes, you can farm a certain area for hours at a time, AoEing down everything in sight and make hundreds of thousands of gold an hour. But that's all dependent on having 4 to 8 people doing the farm. A lot of these farms are significantly less profitable if you're a solo player, specifically in current expansion content. The reason being that most of the time you can't kill the mobs fast enough to cause hyperspawns by yourself. With looking for group, you can always get into one of these groups if you want, but also be aware that unless you have a certain class, these groups may just kick you. Melee classes are mostly considered not optimal for these kind of farms, so if you play a tank or something, good luck. Now, I'm not saying that posting these videos or posts are bad. In fact, they're perfectly fine. Anything in the community to cause discussion is a good thing. You can agree with the method or disagree with it, but discussion is always a good thing. I just wanted the people in the community, especially those who are maybe newer or less familiar to gold making, not to get duped into dumping all of their capital into a certain strategy without doing plenty of research on their own server and the methods used to do it. If you're newer, you're better off using some of the tried and true methods, namely farming raw materials and vendor shuffles. You'll never get shafted on these, and the last thing we want is less people interested in our community. Unless you're on my server, then move along, nothing to see here. For those people who already have millions of gold, losing a couple 100,000 isn't the biggest deal. It's a learning opportunity. For those who lose it all, it could push them away from the game entirely. Anyways, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you found it helpful overall. I know this may be a bit of a weird topic for someone in the gold making community, but I wanted to get it out there. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.